In the wake of the United States' weakness in the Afghanistan pullout, it is telling to see what other world leaders are doing, most specifically Xi Jinping in China, as it relates to his propensity to invade Taiwan. Coming out of 1945 is a really interesting article detailing some of the reasons that he would choose not to invade Taiwan, and then finally giving you the prominent reason that he very well may. It's clear that Xi Jinping is serious about his desire to invade Taiwan in some aspects, saying in a July 1st speech, resolving the Taiwan question and realizing China's complete reunification is a historic mission and an unshakable commitment of the Communist Party of China. He promised to crack skulls and spill blood of those standing in his way. Now, you might be saying, how the hell does this lead into the part of the article that talks about how Xi Jinping is not going to invade Taiwan? And as I read the article, I kind of had that in the back of my mind. But there are many reasons, according to this author, why he won't. First, there is the real threat to the Chinese Communist Party continuing to have control in China if they were to invade Taiwan, mainly because of the level of death that they would most certainly incur among their troops. Military experts have estimated that 50,000 troops, sailors, and pilots would die if China attempted to invade Taiwan. However, many expect that if Japan chooses to intervene and help, they could easily double that number. And this author speculates that Xi does not think that he can suffer those losses and continue to have the Chinese Communist Party be the party that rules China. And at the end of the day, despite the fact that taking over Taiwan is most certainly a huge goal of the party, remaining in control is the foremost goal. The author also cites the idea that Chinese would not kill other Chinese, saying that while the Taiwanese people don't believe themselves to be Chinese, the Chinese people have been brainwashed to see the Taiwanese people as Chinese themselves. And I don't really believe this argument, simply because if the Chinese government is going to send 50,000 of their people to go die in the invasion of that island nation, they will be sure to thoroughly and effectively brainwash them to not even see them as human beings, let alone Chinese, before the first boot hits the shore. And as this author cites himself, Xi Jinping is not far from that in rhetorically advocating from the highest level of government for cracking skulls and spilling the blood of anyone who stands in the way of his effort to rejoin Taiwan to the Chinese government. And I shouldn't say rejoin, because the Communist Chinese Party has never actually had control of Taiwan. There is the second issue, however, that the military officers within China may not actually support taking Taiwan and may not obey Xi Jinping's order to do so. This is historically backed up by the attempted coup in the 1970s, early 1970s, of Mao Zedong in 1971 by Chinese military leader Lin. He was the Marshal Lin Biao. He was supposed to be Mao's successor and allegedly attempted a military coup which resulted in his untimely death and of a purging of the officer corps. There has not been an attempt by the Chinese Communist Party to put any real power into the military leadership after that, for the fear that they might attempt a similar thing, which could have different results the next time. The author says that because Xi Jinping would not want to give the power necessary to the military for them to have the authority to invade Taiwan and all the military force necessary under their command to do so, that he would choose not to invade Taiwan. There is a third argument, and that is that Xi Jinping has raised the political stakes. In the past in China, when you had messed up within the Communist Chinese Party, you would be exiled and you would live in a nice house until the end of your days in peace. However, Xi Jinping has thrown many of his political enemies into jail. And this means that should he mess up, there are a lot of people that would advocate throwing him in jail. Since the stakes are raised, Xi Jinping cannot afford failure. However, this brings us to the clear argument for why Xi Jinping will choose to invade Taiwan, and that is that since 2013, he has really staked his rule on reunification with Taiwan, saying that it is not fair to pass this problem as he sees it to future generations, and that a real leader of the Chinese people would reunify, as they call it, Taiwan with China. And this comes at the same time that the Chinese government has been building as many as 340 new nuclear missile silos for their DF-41 missile. These missiles are the best Chinese missiles that exist because they have better fuel technology than older missiles. Older missiles used liquid fuel. They would take hours to fill up with that fuel, whereas these newer DF-41 missiles use solid fuel, which means that they can be launched much faster. And each one of these hundreds of new missiles can contain multiple warheads, which means that they can strike multiple targets. So it is clear that China is attempting to build up its capacity to use nuclear deterrence to discourage both the United States and Japan from intervening should they invade Taiwan. And this is also made clear by the fact that last month, China threatened to use nuclear weapons on Japan should they intervene in the forthcoming Chinese effort to invade Taiwan, saying that they would break their first strike policy, meaning that they would not strike unless another nation hit them with nuclear weapons first, only for Japan. With America looking weak on the world stage, it will be interesting to see if despots like Xi Jinping and the Russian government work to fill the voids in Ukraine and in Taiwan, where it looks like the despotic grabs for power are most likely to occur. It will be also interesting to see if the United States steps up to back their allies in both Ukraine and in Taiwan, and if their withdrawal from Afghanistan was so that the military can begin the process of retooling for a war against a major power and to begin to stop spending trillions of dollars on what are in effect asymmetrical warfare that does not prepare us for fighting a China or a Russia. For more foreign policy analysis, please subscribe to this channel. And if you would like to submit a story for me to cover, please go to reddit.com/r/Nolan News. Thanks for watching.